What's up? We are back with Lipstick Diaries podcast. I'm back in full effect. I'm your girl Tisha. You know we do this every week, right? Okay. Today I got a special episode for you. I got a special guest. He's been a mentor of mine for years in this nightlife industry. A lot of you know, if you watched the first episode, you know that I was a nightlife and club promoter previously, right? And so in that industry, he was my mentor. He has a lot of good things coming up. His name is J-Neely, big time top promoter in Detroit. Just made some real dynamic moves, and we're gonna talk to him about that later on today. But first, before we smear any lipstick, I gotta get into my positive words, right? First things first, there's no dream too big, okay? No dream too big. There are people who tell you that you can't do something because they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's too far off for them to see. So to them, you can't do it either. Don't listen to them people. Okay. If you got a dream, you make it happen. You turn that dream into a plan, that plan into a goal, and that goal into it happened. Okay. Don't worry about what people say about what you can and can't do because they project their fears on you. We ain't living like that no more. Okay. So I want to start with today's lipstick. This is called Beauti. This is by Britt Roses. Okay. As you can see, it's like a kind of like a purplish color. You can kind of see it. It is a matte lip gloss. I love this lip gloss because it's so light and it's so sheer on the lips. It's not. You know how sometimes some lip gloss be too thick and gummy, and this ain't that. Okay. So check her out, Britt Rose. Okay. Britt Rose Beauty. Check that out. And then today's lashes comes from Color Me Exquisite. Okay. I've had these lashes for a while actually, and I purchased these from her at a pop-up shop, right? And I guess I never really had a reason to wear them. So I found them, was like, oh, I'm gonna wear these today. So shout out to her. I'll tag her information too. But let's get into this episode. Let's smear this lipstick. Y'all ready? Let's go. And I want to thank J-Neely for being on the podcast today. What's up, J-Neely?
What's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you,
Good to
homie.
see you too.
Good to see you. We
It's
we we
been a
go
long
way
time.
back. Yeah, we go way back though. You know that.
Yeah. And so that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. We got to start the podcast off with how we even came into the frame with each other. First
Okay,
of all,
let's
first of
do
all,
it. Let's take it back.
Michigan University.
Yeah,
Okay.
Eagles. I
Eagles.
met some
Go
of my
Eagles.
best people in my life. I'm not gonna lie. In my college years at EMU, I really got some good relationships from people up there at Eastern. A lot of hustlers, a lot of go getters. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate all my relationships from my EMU days for sure.
Yep. I feel the same way. A lot of people I met at Eastern, I'm still in contact with now. Still building connections with and relationships with. And you're right. I met a lot of hustlers and go getters out of EMU.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that was a blessing. I didn't even want to go to EMU in the beginning, but it was a blessing.
Yeah.
So the first time I met J-Neely, it was my freshman year at EMU. Okay. Everybody
What
on the
year was
campus,
it again? What year was it again?
it was 07 for me.
2007. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Everybody knew who J-Neely was on that campus but me. Okay. Like,
yeah.
he was on the football team and he was throwing all the parties, right? So you gotta understand how long this man been in the game. I'm about to really show your
Oh
longevity.
man.
This
Oh
is
man.
when you have to literally get flyers made and print them off and pass them out to people. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
get them printed by the
Facebook was out, but it wasn't the most popular means of doing your events and getting stuff
it
out
wasn't
there
the
yet.
most effective way of doing things right at the
Right.
time.
Right.
So he comes to my door. I was already annoyed because a lot of the football team was doing this prank where they was knocking on the girls' doors and running. So I thought he was one of them. So I yanked the door up. I'm like, what? He was like, oh, my name is J-Neely. Everybody go call me J-Neely. I got a fire and ice party at Papio's. Here's
Oh
a
my
flyer.
God.
I
Papio's
said,
days.
oh, okay. I was like, so he J-Neely. That was the first party I went to in my college years was fire and ice at Papio's.
That's what's up.
And ever since then, I don't know a time where J-Neely wasn't promoting. Like,
Yeah. That was one of
um,
my '07 was that year. Like Papio's was like the first venue that I ever really locked down and did something on
mhm.
my own. So those were good times for sure. And just walking through those dorms, I used to literally like knock on every single door. We did a
Yep.
thing called what I coined the dorm storm, where I
Dorm
get a
storm.
crew. Yeah, I get a crew of people, and we would get kicked out sometimes, so we had to do it kind of low key, and we would
Mm-hmm.
all, if we had to get signed in, we'd get signed in, but we'd kick flyers on the doors, we'd knock on doors, but for me, it was just a chance to really meet people on the ground level, introduce myself, and get the word out.
Right, right. It worked because it kind of made it put you in a position where you kind of was able to interact with the people who were coming to your events
Right,
before they
exactly.
came,
Yep,
so they knew
yep,
who you were ahead of time.
yep.
So,
And
um,
I love that. It's like I try my best to be that type of approachable person. Whereas like I'm not big on just trying to be cool and look cool
right,
at the party. No, I really want to rock with people. I want y'all to come. Like when I love to talk to somebody and then see them
mm-hmm.
out because it just gives me that incentive to make sure they had the best time of their life that night. So I'm gonna make them
Right,
turned up. Like I told you it was gonna be good, didn't I? You came. You actually showed up. So now it's my turn to show you love.
right, and make sure you're having a good time, which you
You
will.
did. Yep,
um,
definitely.
so let's jump into it. So, like I said, I found out about J-Neely college. I mean, his promoting career in college. So, is that where you started? You started in college, right?
Yeah, I started and it's crazy because I never, most of my life, I never was like a big partier like that per se.
Really?
I had never had like a big, like birthday party and stuff like that. I was more like in high school, I was so focused on school and sports. That's pretty much all I had. I went to
Mm-hmm.
UAD Jesuit, so it was an all guy school. So I was forced to be focused. I was around girls a little bit still,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't out there too much. I was focused, busy. Like, UD
Right.
Jesuit is that college preparatory, damn near harder than my college. So,
Oh.
I was focused, what I'm saying, from that standpoint. So it took a while for me to, get out there and really start getting into it. But the first time that I ever got into promotion, it was a female that worked for the football staff, and she was promoting events at the time. And I just wanted to do a birthday celebration this year. I'm like, I might as well invite some teammates. So I
Mm-hmm.
told everybody on the team, like I approached her and she said, I'll put your name on the flyer. We'll treat this as your birthday celebration, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to help me promote the 2 Sundays before your party in
Okay.
order for me to do that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So she
Mm-hmm.
just handed me a stack of flyers. It was at a club called Oz in
Oh.
Ann Arbor,
Okay.
which eventually turned into the fifth quarter. So
Oh. Okay. All right.
yeah,
I know the
so it
fifth
was
quarter.
it was before the fifth quarter even came. So
Mm-hmm.
I just started doing what we talked about earlier, and that was like going dorm to dorm, passing out flyers, and then doing that. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm meeting a lot of people. I had a girlfriend freshman year of college. I was chilling for the most part, so it was just a good chance to get out and meet people and network. So
Right.
it ended up catching on, and I stuck with it ever since.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that make a lot of sense then, because not
Yeah.
and then you just answered my question. I was going to ask, did you ever really enjoy partying or going clubbing, or was that?
What's crazy? My freshman year of college was great. Football was going really good, but our head coach got fired. I
Oh.
really enjoyed like freshman year football was amazing, and then after the season, that's when I found out that okay, football is not just fun no more. This is a
Right.
job. This is a business. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a tough job with a tough boss. When that new coach came in, he was kicking our butt. You know what I'm saying? I got a real taste of what it was like to be a student athlete, like up at 4:30 in the morning to be at practice at 5. Then I got an 8 a.m. class, and it was kicking my butt that second semester. First semester, I flying colors easy. Second semester, I got a little lazy. I ended up dropping a class that I
Mm.
wasn't supposed to drop. So
Oh.
at the end of that semester, I was ineligible to play football my sophomore year of college.
Oh
But I,
no.
but I was such a good player that they didn't strip my scholarship, but they put me through hell. Like I had to do a lot of extra workouts that whole year. I had to be at practice before practice, running sprints and doing all types of stuff. But that
Right.
down year was the year that I was like, okay. I had a roommate that was lit. Shout out to my guy Pierre Walker.
Mm.
He was a great high school player at Central, and then at Eastern he was good as well. But he was the one getting me like out of my shell a little bit. Like, come on, dog, let's party, man. Let's go out, let's kick it a little bit. And at that time on campus, it was a lot more parties and events back then. It was like
Yeah.
the Qs had stuff popping, the Kappas. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
to Rico. Taylor Made
Rico's.
Rico was out there doing his thing. So at that point I was just having fun learning a little bit before this was before I, like probably the year before I got into promoting and doing the flyers and stuff.
Okay. All right. So you said you started off, you wanted to do a birthday party, and the
Yep.
girl said, "I'll do it, but you got to promote 2 Sundays before my birthday." Okay. So after the
Hmm.
birthday party go, how did Papillons come about?
Okay, so Papios came about. Um, so basically, I had been at it a little bit, working with other teams, but I'm like, man, we need our own stuff. At that time, the deals weren't that great because first of all, they didn't want black people partying that much. They didn't want to give it up to black people. They didn't want to give out these nights, especially to a college crowd that's not necessarily drinking. Half of the crowd may drink, half may not. So the liquor sales aren't what the liquor sales are now and what we do with the 21 and up crowd. So they
And
were
it's high
giving,
liability.
yeah, so they were giving out a lot of bold deals, to be honest, and they weren't trying to work with a lot of promoters. So Papios was really one of the only nightclubs in the Ypsilanti area. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
venues were in Ann Arbor. So I'm like, man, if we can get this venue here, I know the campus will go crazy. So me and my partner at the time, Alan Cozart, shout out to Cozart,
Shout out
um,
Cozart.
we literally drove to the venue and just asked to meet with the owner. We talked to
Mm-hmm.
him. We told him our idea that, we're college students, we're student athletes. We'll bring a responsible crowd in. We'll do a dress code, whatever you want. Just please let us get a night here. Let us prove to you, we own our business. We not just some wild kids trying to party.
Right.
So he told us no. So we understood what it was, but we stayed persistent. We literally drove back to that venue every Friday for probably over a month. I think it was probably 6 Fridays in a row. We drove up there to just see him again. We told him like I remember the first night we went, it was an okay crowd, but it wasn't good. And we told him like, you're losing out on money rocking with us,
We
man.
can
I'm
do
telling
better
you.
than this.
Yeah. So every week we kept going, and the crowd was dying until he eventually gave us a chance.
Okay. All right. All right. And that chance blew up because I
Yeah.
don't remember nobody having Papillons besides you. When I think about it.
Yeah,
um.
that first night was crazy. I think we did like 600-700 people. We had a line outside. It was a good look.
Yeah.
It was something good for the campus, and the owner was really good. He actually passed away. His name was Mark, and
Oh.
he was a great guy, and I appreciated his loyalty and even giving young black kids a chance, because
Right.
people don't see like some of the back end. I know you understand, but the back end side of business and college kids trying to find a way to make some money. They could be doing some illegal stuff. They could be doing whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
he really believed in what we were trying to do, and he gave us a chance. So I'm always grateful for that, for
Man,
sure.
yeah. Shout out to Mark, man, and my condolences to his family. I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah, yeah,
Um. So yeah. Okay. So Papillons popped off, and just a little fun fact, everybody. We always had an official icebreaker, but he always had the unofficial icebreaker. But we always
yeah,
went to the
yeah.
official icebreaker.
Right,
We
right,
went to the
right.
official, but we was looking for that Papillon's icebreaker. That's what we cared about. And that
Exactly.
really did numbers. Every year that I was there, it did numbers.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate that.
it was actually one night that I don't think it was an icebreaker because I don't think I was at EMU anymore. I think he was still um doing college parties, but we get into that because you did a transition and
Okay.
you had an event there. I don't remember what it was. It was so many of them, but you remember that balcony that was in there? It was kind of like it kind of
Yeah,
overlooked the dance
yeah.
floor.
I
I
love
remember,
that.
yeah, I did too. So
Yeah.
loud I had it in there. I remember standing over there and I literally had this this moment like in Paid in Full when Ace saw the money falling. Like I had that
Hmm.
moment in Papillons at your party and was like, man, I can do this. I
That's
know I
what's
can do
up.
this.
That's
And
what's
that's
up.
when I came about into it. And I actually had to hit up Neely like, look, I'm trying to do this party thing. What I need to know.
Right, right. You know what? I love stuff like that because at the end of the day, we all get inspiration from so many places. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
not even directly related to what you're doing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But just to see somebody working, persevering, and doing something different, you get motivated. And,
Hmm.
when I look at my journey and my story over the years, I always appreciate it when people took the time to just give me advice or help me out in any kind of way. Sometimes people think that help comes monetarily or
Right.
like direct help. Sometimes it comes from just one small piece of advice and
Hmm.
encouragement to make you want to do it. So whenever people talk to me or show any type of interest in doing this, I definitely want to give them, good words and encouragement and hope that, you do it better than what I'm doing.
Yep. And you're right. You did do that. You advised me because I was scared. I remember being scared to call. I was like, I don't really know him like that. I'm just gonna ask because I had a partner at the time too, and I said I know this guy that do parties in the Ypsilanti area,
Hmm.
but I just kind of know of him. I don't really know him like that. Like I can't just call him and be like, hey. And I think she ended up meeting you first, and then it just kind of went from there. But real quick story, y'all. Let me tell y'all, okay? Because Neely been around for my whole little promoting little career, okay? Like, and it was one particular time when I remember saying, Neely, I really want to host, but I don't know how. Like, I feel like I didn't have a
Right.
voice. And he
Right.
literally
Right.
sat on the phone with me for like an hour, was like, say this, say that, do this, deepen your voice,
Yeah.
bring it up some more.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I don't think people realize, like he said, there's a lot of dynamics behind throwing parties and hosting, and it's not just what you see. So when you on a mic, you're not just talking in the mic. You gotta know your drink specials. You gotta know these songs. You gotta know
Right.
birthdays. You gotta know a lot of different
Right.
things. You can't just be on the
Hmm.
mic. And
Yeah.
that's what he was teaching me. And I'm like, oh man, that's so much more hard than what I thought it was.
Right. Right. And I love, like I
Yeah,
said,
he did teach.
I love stuff like that because some people do things for different reasons. Some people want to make some quick money,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, the best people are really passionate about what they're doing, no matter what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like once you dive into almost anything, I'm not gonna lie. Like one thing I've been trying to learn this year is how to produce music. When you
Okay.
start doing something, you new at something, you start to see so many different angles and things you never thought about that would
Mm-hmm.
even be a factor in doing it. So, like you said, with hosting, it's like how you project your voice. It's
Mm-hmm.
crowd control. Is knowing how to direct people. For me, one of my favorite things about it is literally talking to individuals. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes I say crazy off the wall stuff, but it's to
Mm-hmm.
get that one group. I may be specifically talking to one group of people,
Mm-hmm.
but I know 20, 50, 100 may relate to it. But
Yep.
sometimes I directly will see a girl sitting down and I will say something to get her going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that might turn the whole party up. So
Yep.
yeah, it's the little nuances and things that you got to learn just by being around crowds and kind of understanding the dynamics of how human nature is. Like we all want to enjoy ourselves. We all want to feel good. We all want to celebrate.
Yep. I think too what you do. Well, I would say what we do because I did it too. But you
Hmm.
can't be afraid to do nothing new. Like you got to be able to try things because that might be the thing that worked. you
Right,
know.
for real.
I
Yeah.
know the one thing you say is don't let your friend be boring.
That's
When
one
you
of
go
my
on the mic.
favorite quotes, you know what I'm saying? It's
And
like,
when you say it, it make a lot more sense because like the majority of your crowd are a lot of females traveling in groups. Like
hmm.
it's always gonna be that one female that's sitting down. She ain't drinking. She's just there, and so
Right.
it kind of forces her to be like, "Oh, I don't want to be the one he talking about on the mic. Let me
You
get up."
know, you
So
know.
it do work.
Yeah, anything motivating to just get people up and like, it's tough nowadays. Like when we started in the game, it was like people already walked in the party, they would dance with a stranger. It's
hmm
weird that it's weird that nowadays that's foreign. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
It
back
is.
back in the day, people would literally walk to the dance floor, look for somebody that they think is attractive, and dance with them.
Yep.
Like nowadays, that's like a foreign thing. So it's like we got to work extra hard in this nightlife industry now to make people let their hair down and just have some fun a little bit. So that's
Exactly.
why I think of stuff like that. Don't let your friend be boring and
hmm
smack your best friend on the butt. Something, anything to motivate people to get up and enjoy
Have fun.
themselves. Yeah. We ain't got to sit
Yeah.
around looking cool all night. Have some fun.
Do that at home.
Right. You know?
But okay, so let's talk about the transition. So you boom, you took care of Eastern. You were doing college parties for a while, and
Right.
then you decided it was time to go to 21 and up. What made you do that transition?
Man, to be honest, it was a lot of factors. At the end of the day, I was getting a little bit older and
Mm-hmm.
just outgrowing my network. It's
Yeah.
like I was still working out in that area, so I didn't feel as bad, but I was just outgrowing the market where it's like, okay, I'm 24, 25. I'm seeing young 18 and ups coming in and
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like okay, it's time to grow, and it was a tough decision because I was making a lot of money at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Towards the end of my kind of college career, it's like I know in my mind that I could have held on and milked it as long as possible, but if I
It
didn't
was
make
time.
yeah, if I didn't make that change at that time, then I would have either got stuck out there or I would have not been able to grow. You know what I'm saying? If I would have waited a few more years, my impact in the city wouldn't have been the same. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, all right. And a good thing about it is I was at Eastern Michigan, which a lot of people are from Detroit. So they
Right.
graduate and they go home to Detroit. So it's only right
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, it's a lot of girls, 22, 23, that have partied with me their entire college career. So when
Yep.
they see me back down in Detroit, they're like, okay, I
I
know
know
this
this
guy's
guy.
track record. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was tough leaving that money and trying to transition back in the city, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
stayed down and we stayed on the grind with it.
But it's like it's funny because the 18 up is a lot of money. Don't never get it twisted. That's a nice lucrative market. But
Definitely.
it's like if you started off with that market, and as you get older, your audience gets older. So if
Right.
you compare it to them, they're going to go to someone else, and then you're going to be stuck with a younger crowd. You can't relate to them no more.
Exactly.
And I felt like I was scared to do 21. I'm like, man, ain't no money, no 21 enough. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm fooled. Yes, it is. It's just not as big as 18 up because 18 up, you talking about big warehouse wide icebreakers,
Hmm.
$10 to $20 a person. That's a lot of money. Versus a nightclub, the dynamics a little different. We'll get into that, but
Right.
it is a scary transition. I do understand that, but it has to be done because
Yeah.
I know when I started, I was here. I came back to Saginaw because I the same thought you had about EMU. I was like, because I left EMU after 2 years and I had to end up coming back to my home city in Saginaw because the
Okay.
financial aid didn't work out.
Yep.
That's what happened. So when I came back to Saginaw Valley, they party scene wasn't as great as EMU's party scene. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, when I was at EMU, we had what
Right.
y'all do on Thursdays? What
It
y'all do
was a bunch of
on Fridays?
venues already going. It was a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I asked them like, what do y'all do? And it was like, well, nothing. We go either go back to the city, which still ain't nothing for them because at the time 18 and up wasn't popping in downtown Detroit. It was
Right.
21
Right.
and up. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, we need something here. Like this don't make no sense. And I remember partnering up with Rashad. Shout out to him. It was Born Fly before he did
Yep.
Wealthy. He was Born
Okay. That's
Fly.
what's up. That's what's up.
Yep.
Yeah. One
Rashad
time for
Cuddles.
Rashad. Yeah.
Yeah, one time for Rashad and Cuddles. 50 Bars. He's another one.
Yeah. That's my
Um,
brother 50. What up, 50?
yeah. What's
We
up,
still
50?
we still do a lot of stuff together. That's my guy.
Yeah, I love 50. Learned a lot from him too. And we all kind of did the whole Saginaw Valley versus whatever school thing,
Hmm.
that kind of icebreaker thing. That's how I got into it. I'm like, because we ain't got nothing here. This is ridiculous.
Right.
But after for so long, I felt like we can't stay here. I'm 22, 23. I don't want to be here no more with these. I don't want to say kids, but
Yeah. Yeah. I
for
know what
us,
you
it was
mean.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I go to 21 clubs. I want to be in that scene. And fortunately for me, I made this transition quicker than most people.
Yeah.
But it does have to be done. I know it's scary for a lot of promoters if you start off 18 and up and you want to move, but you got to move.
Yeah. But for me,
Because eventually,
it's more of a mindset we got to change. Like I feel like
mm-hmm,
when I was coming up in the promotion game, I didn't feel like it was a lot of support
yeah,
for growth. It was
mm-hmm,
support for, okay, a lot of promoters are always looking for help, like somebody
yep,
that can give them a boost, but not necessarily to boost them. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
It's like they'll
yes,
put you on an event to help them make a little more money, but you kind of going to be capped. They'll book you to host, they'll book you to get a certain amount, but not sit at the table. So
yep,
that's another thing that I've been kind of trying to change within the nightlife game
mm-hmm,
myself. Is like, okay, I'm looking for people that's making that transition. I feel like
right,
the very best promoters started in the college years and got that
mm-hmm,
training. I call that training for the
training,
nightlife. You know what
yes,
I'm saying? When you grow up in it, you kind of understand some of the dynamics a little better. Not to say that you can't just jump in when you grown, but the people that started young, started in college, they got a whole different dynamic of understanding behind how to run the business in it.
mm-hmm,
So,
the
that
basics of the business.
yeah. So as hard as it is to transition, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for those young college promoters that have a real passion behind it, that want to come up into the 21 and up market and make that transition. It's a few of them out here that are doing it, but I'm looking
Okay.
for more.
Yeah, I do see someone to come up, and I'm like, all right, I see y'all, and that's
Right.
good because I know I wasn't gonna be doing nobody's icebreaker at 50 years old. So I mean
Right.
that works for them. I would rather them get the money. I would rather train someone up and let y'all learn how to do this. I'll teach you the business part of it and how to
Right.
do it. It's gonna fall in the back. I don't want to be seen.
Exactly.
I just want you
So
to be able
so
to.
so to some of them older guys, stop trying to hold on and Take
Right.
advantage of the young ones.
Let
Grow.
them do that.
You go to the next level, and you put
Mm-hmm.
them in your position. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
And we'll all be winning. We'll be
Right.
good. So
Facts.
when you transitioned to downtown Detroit, I know that wasn't necessarily the easiest thing because you had a little backlash. They thought you was a college promoter and
Oh
oh
yeah.
he don't know nothing about the
Always.
city and this that and the third. How
Yeah.
did you
Yeah.
overcome that?
It,
I hear
it's
that.
it's tough. It's you got to know how to navigate. But what I tell some of the guys that are facing this same dilemma now is to
Mm-hmm.
always be doing your own shit. Excuse my
Yep.
language. Can I curse
You
on this
good? Yeah, you
podcast?
good. You okay?
Okay, cool. But yeah, always be doing your own shit. Cause I'm gonna tell this story real quick because it's been a couple guys recently, like DJs, talking about certain pay rate that they're not happy with or whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's a lot of discussion in the game about what a host should be paid, what a DJ should be paid,
Mm-hmm.
what they should be doing, what time they should get there, whatever. I'll just tell my quick story.
Okay.
So I remember one of the last big college parties I threw was an icebreaker with Cash Doll. Well, Cash Doll just popped up and came to perform. This is when
Mm-hmm.
she had that one uh, song that was popping with Tinashe. She did the remix,
Let me
and
tell you a
then
little something about me. I'm a boss ass bitch from the 313. That yeah, okay. I know you're talking about her first
um,
song.
that own one, the own
Yep.
one remix.
Mm-hmm.
So then I swear Vezo was the main performer on that event. Long story
Mm-hmm.
short, the event profited around $16,000. Right,
Okay.
I had one partner, so I made a lot of money. I'll just say
Mm-hmm.
that. The very next day, I got booked the host at a venue,
Mm-hmm.
and it was for $150. You know, I could have had a big ego where I was
Yep.
like, "Oh, I'm worth this. I just got paid this last night. I'm not
Right.
about to go here and make $150. Blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I saw the opportunity of being in that venue at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I slow grinded it. I knew that I would have to take a little bit of a loss to get in certain doors. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Not saying that's right for everybody, but fast forward to today, that venue that I got booked to host for $150, I'm part owner of that venue now. So that's a good story to tell. You know, I had to put that out there
You
for
gotta tell.
everybody that's like whatever you're going through within this transition and all of that, just stay down. Always be doing your own stuff so that, you know, nobody can tell you your worth in the game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So let me get back to the story, your original question. I'm sorry I went off track a little bit.
You okay?
But
You okay?
but yeah, so when I first came down to Detroit and I'm doing events down there, of course the narrative that, you know, people wanted to play to pay me what they wanted to pay me was
Mm-hmm.
you got mostly a college crowd. You know what I'm saying? Even though I knew a lot of my people back in Detroit now, like
Right. They
I'm a
grown.
right, I'm a book more boosts or bring more people out. My guest list is longer than yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the time I had like a game on Twitter that was trending real heavy. I had a lot of people playing. It was called Fill in the Blank.
Fill in the
So
blank.
I would use that to my advantage for getting guest lists to clubs and stuff. So I'll be sending a guest list of like literally 300 people. So, you know, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I wasn't getting the respect that I felt like I deserved or wanted,
Mm-hmm.
to where it'd be like, okay, I would just be getting booked as a host. I'd be getting like 150, $200 to host for most of the good venues that I wanted to be on. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be at Crave, I wanted to be at 29 Park, I wanted to be at those venues. But to join those teams with those people, I knew they weren't going to give me an actual full cut or
Right.
let me in on the actual seat at the table. I would have
Right.
had to come in as a host. So I said, you know what? I'll sacrifice. I can throw my own party this night and make
Mm-hmm.
$1,000, but I'd
Yep.
rather sacrifice because I want to be on 29 Park and get those contacts from those people that are at that party.
And
And
that
when
network.
yeah, and when the party's going on, instead of like in the booth drinking with all the girls, I'm doing that a little bit too, but I'm going around thanking people for coming out. Thank you for
Yep.
coming to my party. Thank you for coming to my party. So it's
Mm-hmm.
lit. Now they starting to contact me like, oh, that party you had was crazy. So that's kind of like how I built it up. But yeah, it took a minute of me like, okay, doing some of those venues with the big dogs per se, but
Mm-hmm.
also throwing my own events to where I'm proving like you can't tell me I'm worth this much when I throw a party on my own on this day and
Right.
I had more people. I had 200-300 people on my own. So you can't tell me
Right.
I'm only worth this. So
Right.
that's my advice with people taking that transition. Always be doing your own stuff.
Yep. And pay attention. Like you got you gotta listen. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Cause see, I didn't get into 21 until I came to Detroit with y'all. And
Hmm.
that was, for one thing, it was two things that was going against me. I wasn't from Detroit. It was 21 and up, and I was a female. That and we were
Yeah. It's
young.
tough. It's tough for women in the game. It
It's tough,
definitely
but
is.
it's doable. It's
Yeah.
doable. You just
It's
gotta be
definitely
strong.
doable. There's been a lot of great females that have done their thing for sure. You know.
But I learned, like you, actually, this, see, man, I'm telling y'all, this man taught me a lot. We got booked on a party. I can't remember where that party was at. I want to say it was Blue. It was a promoter. And I told him, he's like, really? I just got on my first party in
Hmm.
Detroit. We not power promoters, we headliner promoters. Like, and he's like, okay, cool. Well, how much you getting paid? I said, huh? He said, you coming out here and you ain't getting paid? I was like, but I was
Word.
scared to ask because I want, I'm trying to get my name. He's like, no, no, no. Don't be scared to ask. Like, the worst they can say is no. And then he
Right.
said, now I think I texted you this a while ago. I was like, man, I live off that advice that the sooner you get over your fear of rejection, the more doors are opened up for you. And I said, all right, I'm gonna
That's
ask
the
them. I'm
one.
gonna see what they say.
That's
And I
the one
asked
I
them. I
try
said,
to.
what's the pay? And they was like, well, what you looking for? I said, oh, okay. And I gave them a price, and it
Oh,
worked.
is that easy? Is
Yeah.
that easy?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Closed mouths don't get fed, but that's the one. Like that fear of rejection, you can apply that to anything in your life. You got to just
Mm-hmm.
go after what you want. The worst thing they can say is no. They ain't gonna beat you up for asking.
You ain't gonna die.
Right.
It is
You
what it
know.
is.
Yep.
So you was in Detroit, knocked out all kind of clubs. I remember Flat 151, Honey, Crave, Elysium. We could go on for days.
Lots of them.
um,
Lots of them.
yeah, you cleared the city. I can't think of a club I haven't been where
Yeah.
you wasn't on a
The
party.
White House,
Ten Fish.
Ten
Um,
Fish. There's a lot of them.
it's a lot of them.
It's been a long 1701 cigar bar.
1701 Cigar
Shout out
Bar,
to my boy
Century
Jay
Park.
Floyd. Oh, Center Park. I love it. I miss it.
Yep.
I miss
And
that one.
so it seemed like as time went on, you got that respect. You got that staple, and people started to realize, no, J-Neely, he a top elite
Yeah, I
promoter.
appreciate that.
And it's funny because even when I thought you were at your best, you were still getting better. I'm like, dang, he like what's happening? Like
Yeah,
you're pretty much like what Mike Gardner is in Miami is what you are to Detroit. Like
I
you're head and shoulders
appreciate that.
Detroit. So and that's big time to me to be able to see that growth, see you throwing like seeing you go from icebreakers to people not really wanting to put you on parties because you was a college promoter and didn't have a 21 up crowd to now they got to go through you now. I think that's dope. I think that's dope. So, and for all y'all that don't know, he has a party every Tuesday with his partner Justin Floyd. Shout out to Justin Floyd.
Yep.
Quiet Storm.
Oh yeah.
Talk about how Quiet Storm came about.
That's my favorite event of the week. So Justin called me one day and I gotta shout out my bro Justin for sure because I feel like we
Mm-hmm.
had similar entries into this game
Yep, you
where
did.
we were like just same type of personality, just cool with everybody. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Not doing too much, pretty humble at the end of the day. And he approached me. You know, we had already done a lot of different types of events together, and we both know how to host pretty like we you know I play it humble, but we some of the
Y'all
best
the
hosts in
coldest
the
host.
city.
I'm gonna
You know
say
what I'm
it too.
saying?
Y'all the
So
coldest host.
it's rare to find people with all of the whole package to where you
Mm-hmm.
can promote, you can book booths, you appealing to the women, and you
Mm-hmm.
know how to host all in a package. So it's like we just mesh well together. So he
Yep.
called me. He like, man, I'm trying to do this event. Um, we should do an all R&B party because we had did an all R&B show together at Truth Music Cafe. That was good. I
Okay.
love R&B. He do. And then DJ Slick B was kind of up and coming, still pretty new. And Slick had already been doing like a R&B Quiet Storm mix. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, man, it'd be perfect if we all linked together. We almost added one more promoter, but we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So Justin hit me up like, man, we should try an all R&B party. And I also got
Okay.
to shout out Nick Marsh. He's from Detroit, but he lives in Atlanta. He was doing an R&B party down in Atlanta, R&B Tuesday. So
Okay.
we got his blessing to even do it in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing, you know how this game goes. Somebody sees something, they want to do it. So we reached out to him first, got his blessing, and
Mm-hmm.
then we said, let's rock it. Let's see how it goes.
That's dope. That's dope. And that's so funny because um I created mine from y'all. Me
Yep.
and Where.
Love.
Shout out Where. Okay.
Yep, yep. One time for
Um
where. You know, where
y'all
is on ours now too. So
Yeah, I've been wearing
where,
on Quiet Storm. See,
yeah,
I
he
talked
ended
to
up
Justin
joining us.
Floyd initially. It was supposed to be me. I was supposed to meet with you and Justin Floyd, but I think you got
Hmm.
caught up in the photo shoot. And so I met with Justin Floyd. I said, "Listen, I want y'all to come to Saginaw and just do one Quiet Storm night. Like I'll book
Hmm.
the venue and y'all just come, y'all host, and just bring that experience here." And he said, "That's cool." He said, "Yeah, we could do that." He said, "But you shouldn't call it Quiet Storm. You should create your own thing." And I was like, "Come on." I was like, I
And
don't
that's
want to keep
love.
doing it. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to keep
Hmm.
doing it. I just want to do one night. He's like, yeah, but even if you do one night, you should just get your own brand because
Hmm.
if that do well, you need to have your own name. You can't go with
Right.
Quiet Storm. You gotta have your
Right.
own. So I'm like, all right, let me think of something. I'll come back to y'all.
Hmm.
So I kept racking my brain. I'm like, man, they got the coldest name. Like I can't top Quiet Storm. Like I don't even know. I came up with corny stuff like Midnight Love and I was like, this is so tacky. So I came with a name. I hit up Where like, listen, what you think about doing this? He said, yeah, that's dope. And so Justin Floyd is really the reason why I
That's
did this.
love.
I wasn't gonna do that. I wanted to just do
Yeah.
one night. Hey, y'all come down to Saginaw, host one night, be done with it. And he's like, nah, you should do your own thing. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's love, and that's how we are, man. It's like to even approach us about it is love. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
everybody, like I said earlier, gets inspiration from other places. It's
Right.
like we love to work with other people. You know, it wasn't conflicting with ours because it's not
Right.
downtown, it's not in Detroit, it's out there. So we love to see y'all do y'all thing too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and I wanted to be different. I didn't want it
Yeah,
to be the exact same thing because I
exactly.
remember I remember one on my last season I had an episode called Duplication versus Inspiration,
Hmm.
and it's okay to be inspired by people, but you can't do the exact same thing the exact
Right,
same way because at
right,
that point
right,
you
right.
are taking they biting their event. So
Exactly.
I remember it saying like I like what they doing, but I don't want it to be the same vibe. So I had to
Hmm.
create something different by bringing the girls in and then bringing a signature drink in and having these different things that I knew was different from Quiet
Right.
Storm. I
Hmm.
ain't gonna lie. Sometimes y'all would get to artist tributes before me. I'm like, dang, they did it first. I'll be doggone. Like,
Yeah, I try to be creative and just think of something different. You know how it
yeah,
go, man. Trying to
it's cool.
people don't see how tough it is to do a weekly event. It's not easy.
Okay, and
It's
keep it
not
different.
easy. And to keep it going, like you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think, and it's crazy to say this, but right now, Quiet Storm is the longest running weekly event in Detroit right now.
I believe it.
So that's crazy to even think about. Like before that, it was Bosco Thursdays. You
I
know,
remember Bosco.
with Bravo, Justin, Phil. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
You know, so to even and I remember that was like a big point of their marketing was like we've been going this many years straight. You know, it's a staple
Mm-hmm.
now. So the fact that we're here and been going this long, you know, it's a blessing. But
Y'all
like I
gotta live
said,
on Sunday.
it's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, cause
It's
it's
tough to
not
keep it
like y'all
going.
got like a. It's not like y'all just got like a Freaky Friday. Where you could just
Right.
come everybody come every
Do
Friday. That be
whatever.
that.
Yeah, we get new themes every
Yeah, it's
week.
a different theme.
Yeah, it's tough and really like doing some bookings, bringing shows, bringing
Yep.
props and different stuff in. It's like it's a full time job at the end of the day, but that's how I treat it. Like,
Yep. But
gotta
it's
give it up,
at the
give it
same
up.
time, it's kind of I like challenging. I like to see if I can top my last thing. So
Hmm.
for me, that type of thing has always been fun for me. Like
Right. Same
it's
here.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's a job, but it's not a job because
Yeah.
I would sit at work like, this is what we gonna do. That's dope. Like
Right. Right.
and do it
Yeah.
week of. Like I don't think people realize you don't have a lot of time unless you project your events out a month ahead. You don't have enough time from last week to next week.
Yeah. Another crazy thing about it is, and that's a blessing too, that we built up a following to where we can literally drop a flyer 2 to 3 days before an event and it will still do well. Now,
Mm-hmm.
not being lazy, I feel like we should definitely plot and plan ahead. But
Right.
I've always been the person to think outside the box. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes working with big teams, they be like, Neely, no, we can't do that. What are
Right.
you thinking? What are you talking about? So now I feel like fast forward years later, it feels great that I literally can come up with a crazy random theme, and now people believe in it enough to be like, fuck it, let's go.
It
Like,
worked.
last
Like,
time your crazy idea worked, so what
let's
else you
try it
got
again.
on the table? Let's do it again. So yeah,
Let's try it again. Let's see it. Let's see how this
yeah,
go.
yeah.
But I like being around people who don't who like to try different things. Like, cause if it don't work, it don't work. We ain't gotta do it again. You know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
let's at least try it and
Can't
see.
be afraid to take a L. I
Right.
don't know why. Like I've never been that type. Of course, I played it cautious at times, but I'm not afraid to take a L on an
Right.
idea. I'm not afraid to look corny. I'm not afraid to look stupid. I'm not afraid to look lame to anybody else's standards. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Detroit real tough. Everybody want to be a certain way. You gotta have this. You gotta have that. I
Yeah.
I feel like I always stay neutral beyond anybody's expectations. Like I can be corny sometime. I can be lame if from whatever standards y'all put out here. I don't care. I'm
Right.
doing me. I'm enjoying myself. I'm taking care of my family. So
Right.
if I come up with a crazy idea, I have no embarrassment behind if it doesn't work. Okay, if it don't work, it don't work. I'm back to the like. It's so crazy because I got so much stuff going on that if this don't work, I don't even have time to be embarrassed about it. I'm posting the next thing
We
that's
on the
going
next
on.
thing now.
Right, we moving on
It
quick.
don't work, then
you know.
it don't work. You know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I like. That's why I say I like. I can't work with any and everybody because I need people who's gonna think. I don't want to do what
Right.
everybody else doing. I
Hmm.
need you to be a little bit more innovative because I feel like this: if there's four people on a team and only one person comes with ideas, then what you need the other three for? You know,
Right.
I want everybody to come to the table and come up with something dope. You know, and
Hmm.
if it don't work, man, all right, well we try. We'll laugh about it after the fact, but let's
Right.
try it though.
Right. Right.
So speaking of that, what's some things you draw inspiration from? Like, how do you stay innovative and creative? Like, you watch things or
Man, you know what? It's kind of crazy. I do a lot of different things. Like I'm big. I'm a big YouTuber late at night. I'm
okay,
always up on YouTube. Like, and I try to get sleep. I'm not encouraging people to be like, oh, I'm grinding all these hours. No, rest is
right?
important. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times late at night before I go to bed, I'm on YouTube just searching and seeing things and just doing
Mm-hmm.
my own research. But to be honest, I'm naturally a creative person. So
Yeah.
I tap into a lot of my own like interest and things that I like to do and dabble in the nightlife. But a lot of my inspiration lately just comes from um, first of all, women feeling comfortable.
Okay.
That's number one. That it may sound a little weird, but to be honest, especially in our culture nowadays, like
Yeah.
you got to make a woman feel comfortable. I want you to come to
Mm-hmm.
my event and feel comfortable to let loose a little bit. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Where you don't got to have your guard up. So
Right.
how do I do that? I'm thinking like, okay, what's something fun that ladies want to do? So that's where most of my inspiration comes from. Like, a lot of my stuff looks a little crazy off the wall, but whatever you can do to make your best friend be like, girl, that is crazy. Oh my God, let's do it. Fuck
Let's
it. Let's
do it.
have fun. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's where it comes from, like the champagne shooter and
Mm-hmm.
ideas like that. I feel like I'm not the first person to do it, but I'm definitely the first person I saw do it in Michigan. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But I'm naturally just a creative person, but I get inspired by so many different things. It's hard to even narrow it down to one, but I'm definitely
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube just looking up stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. When I can't sleep, that's what I do. YouTube, Pinterest, uh,
Hmm.
all kind of things. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
dope. You
yeah.
know.
So what I do is I try to utilize that time, like some of that downtime, to do something that I feel like is going to help me in my business at least. If I'm
Right.
up late at
Right.
night, all right, I'm not going to be watching my favorite Netflix show. I'd rather
Right.
research something about my business to help me. You know what I'm
And figure out what you can do
saying?
to
Hmm.
make it better and
What's the
learn some more.
next thing? What's a crazy idea that I feel like you almost want controversial stuff to where you want that one skeptical person. I love a skeptical person because
Me too.
that makes me want to prove them wrong. So it's like
Yep. Yep. Me
I
too.
got an idea that I'm gonna do soon. I'm gonna tell you about it when we off air. I don't want to say it before
All right.
somebody will steal it, but
Right. We
you'll
need
see.
no thieves,
I think
man.
I'm gonna do a Halloween weekend. It's gonna be wild.
Ooh.
I can't wait
Okay.
to try it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That ain't never been done before, so that's dope.
Right. It's gonna be
Dope.
something fun. Watch.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that. So, all right. Now, you already kind of touched on, I was going to try to save it, but let's talk about this announcement you just made not too long ago. um,
Okay.
so, becoming a club owner is such a major thing. It's funny because I knew you were going to do it. I just didn't know that it was this. I thought when you said something like that, I was like, he probably just going to try to find, an old club to try to revive it. That's cool.
Right, right, right.
That's dope. But when I saw 29 Park, I said, huh? I'm like, that's so dope.
Yeah.
That's because 29 Park is my favorite club, not just because you own there, but prior to that, 29 Park, besides Flat 151 Elysium, 29 Park was my favorite club to
Right.
go to.
Right,
So
right.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, we definitely got to go back now.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah.
how did that happen? Like, was
Whew.
that in the works for years, or did it just kind of pop up? Or
It's a really long story. I can tap in on some of it, but not all of it.
okay,
But basically, 29, like you said, is one of my favorite venues I've ever done. And the owner is, super cool.
mhm,
And over the years, I think it was 2017 or 18. It might have been 2017. She
mhm,
ended up doing some type of partnership. I don't know if it was an ownership deal or whatever, but she did a
okay,
partnership and it didn't work out.
okay,
So at that time, I approached her like, wow, I didn't even know that she would even be willing to take a partner on. So
right,
I asked her about it at that time, and she kind of just gave me I would say a politically correct response,
mhm,
where basically telling me like, oh, she sees potential in me, and she loves what I do, and she thinks that I could really grow in this business and take it serious and go to the next level, and just giving me some advice about some of the things I would face when I switched over,
mhm,
but basically not right now type of thing. You know what I'm
okay,
saying? But maybe one day we could talk about it.
okay,
So at that time, I knew, you know, it's kind of everybody's goal that's doing good in the nightlife to eventually own their own spot or have their own venue,
mhm,
So, at that time, I wouldn't have been ready. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
it. Timing is everything. A lot of people
Time
say,
is
"Oh, you've been
everything.
doing this so long, it's about time." Or no, the timing is everything. And if
Mhm.
I would have had a venue or had an opportunity at that time, I wouldn't have been prepared to even do what I needed to do to manage it and run it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, fast forward to this past year, things have just been going really well. So opportunities, realistic opportunities were there for ownership to where it's like,
Okay.
okay, I've been investing my money correctly. I've been saving my money, haven't been splurging, haven't been trying to look rich. You know how it is in our
Mhm.
society. So it's like, okay, I got enough money to where I could probably buy my own space or buy in or partner with a group of people. So I had
Mhm.
another deal on the table, and I won't say where it was at, but
Mhm.
I had a deal lined up. It was looking good. Those who know already. But the deal
Mhm.
was looking good, and then the pandemic hit, and then okay, we're still on the table with it. Let's keep it rolling. And then the second shutdown came, and the deal kind of switched up a little bit to where they were
Mm.
looking for a different structure, and I just didn't like the new deal that much. So
Yeah.
I was back to the drawing board for a second, where I'm like, okay, I just got to find a building. I got to start over. I don't know. Like, I know I'm gonna get something, but I'm patient because, in all honesty, the the top promoters in this game have leverage. So it's
Yep.
like people who don't, and that's why I love this podcast. We can talk real. You know what I'm saying? I can just give you real. But
Mhm.
it's been blowing my mind the past couple of years with guys like, oh, you need to have your own space. Y'all don't understand. It's kind of like how Uber doesn't own any cars. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Look how they're thriving. Same thing with
Right.
the nightlife. It's like a lot of deals that I do structure, we get a percentage of the bar along with the door. So it's
Right.
damn near like we're pretty much owners if
Part
you
owners.
with the right situation. So it's like
Mhm.
people don't know what they're talking about. But
Right.
with this, I after that deal kind of fell apart, I made a couple calls here and there. To be honest, I had maybe four other possible situations where it's like, okay, it's a building here, but it's gonna need to build out. I'm gonna need to hire all new staff.
Okay.
This situation over here is decent, but they need this, that, and the other. So I reached out. I said, I raised this capital. I'm serious about it. I don't want to have another year the way that I had it this year. I made a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money, great, but I need equity.
Right.
I need I need real equity, and I need a home base, and I need people that I can trust. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is here. I think that is here. So to my surprise, the answer was okay, we can talk about it. And I'm like, whoa, okay,
All right.
this might work out. So after it was a long negotiation, I won't lie. Then
Yeah.
it started to become real, and then I got my attorney to draft up some paperwork. We had to switch it up a few times, but to my joy, and it just fit. 29 Park. I feel like I feel like I'm the best of both worlds. Where it's like I'm from the
Mm-hmm.
hood, but I'm college educated. I can blend
Mm-hmm.
in. I can blend in any room. You know what I'm saying? I
Yep.
got family. I got people in the hood. I can be in the hood. I can go corporate. I can be
Mm-hmm.
around both sides. And I feel like
Right.
that's what 29 Park is. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Of course, the urban crowd, my black people are welcome, but you got to bring a certain standard. Don't bring too
Yep.
much riffraff. We can turn
Exactly.
up. We can have fun. And that's what it has always represented. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect for my brand. It's
Mm-hmm.
the perfect deal.
Mm-hmm.
At one point I didn't, and I know I'm rambling kind of long with
No,
this
you
question.
good.
At one point I almost quit. I'm not gonna lie. I was in quarantine, like thinking about another way. It was like
Mm.
all this success over this past year, 3 years, and they can just shut it down whenever they want. I was hurt. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I should find another route. Maybe I should go into real estate. Like
Yeah.
maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. But I knew that I'm passionate about this nightlife thing. I do it for real. Like
Yeah.
four, I would say almost 5 years ago now is when I fully committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
To a lot of people's dismay, a lot of even some of my inner circle of promoters, like, you ain't gonna work no job. You got a degree. You wasting your time, bro. Like, why you wasting your degree? Like, you could have a good job and do this. I wouldn't just take this little nightlife money, dog. You got to do both. So when I
Mm-hmm.
fully committed, that's when everything flipped over. That first
Yep.
year of not having a job and working this, it was a grind. You know what I'm saying? That first year
Mm-hmm.
was a grind, and then took off, and I've been comfortable ever since I left the so-called rat race, the
Right.
working force. But I'm grateful that the 29 Park deal was just a perfect fit for both sides. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So we just started, and I just got it feels good. Like I don't get too high or too low anymore. It's like
Right.
I'm appreciating
Same.
that. I appreciate the actual journey. So it's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
celebrating. I'm happy for my accomplishments, but at the same time, I understand that life, not just your business, life is a never ending journey of just enjoying the day. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Enjoying
So
it.
so I'm grateful, but it's like work is just beginning. Like
Right.
now I just have more equity, I have more stability, and I have even more of a means now to show other people a good time. I don't
Right.
have to be greedy. I don't have to tax you at the door.
Exactly.
Come on in, come grab some drinks, some affordable drinks. We not charging an arm and a leg for bottles or drinks. We're making it fair. So I'm excited that the deal was able to go through.
I'm excited too. This is when I started. I was like, I want to cry. Like I signed the papers. Like I'm like, this is so amazing
Yeah.
to see. I think it's because it's some. This is the thing. Like I've been telling myself, like this is why you got to surround yourself with people that's doing something and
Right.
that's really moving in their purpose because it does nothing but motivate you to do the same thing.
Right.
I don't have people around me that's not making moves. Like everybody around me, it's like I don't want to be the odd man out.
Right.
So you
And I
got clothes
gotta
owners, you got luxury vehicle company owners. I got a little bit of everybody. So I'm like, man, he owned 20 man. It's a win. Like I feel like it's a win for me too. So I was geeked about
love,
that.
love. And
But
I
I
gotta
just feel.
I
Go
got to
ahead.
do this real quick. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
But
you good.
talking about the announcement, I got to give a real big shout out to Cardiac Films
Okay.
and Just Chelsea, the photographer. They came through
Yes.
for me and did such an amazing job on the day of that shoot. Cardiac literally shot that in one day and
Woo.
got it edited, got the video done within less than 24 hours, man. So
Yes.
I really got to thank Cardiac, my guy Martez, man. I appreciate you, man. If you ever need any type of video work done, you better hit up Martez Cardiac Films, man. Love.
Okay. And Chelsea did her thing too with the photography. She got real good still shots, real good everything. Everybody did their thing on that. And I was very impressed with all the work on that. Um, I'm glad you told that story because, you know, you right, and especially in nightlife. I can't speak for other industries since I'm not in those other industries, but I know when you get to a certain plateau in a nightlife, the first thing everyone says is, "Well, you should own a nightclub, or you should be this."
Right, right, right,
Like, but you gotta understand that timing is everything. I know people like to say, "No, the time is now." No, not necessarily. It's not always like that. Sometimes you
right.
got to put in a little more groundwork to get the foundation too. Sometimes I think
Exactly.
people move too hastily onto things like that and not understanding you, because I think the reason why it works for you is because, for one thing, you've been working with a lot of different nightclubs over a period of time, and you know how that nightclub business works,
Right,
and you know how you want to run it, how you don't want to run it. People you work with who you were like, no, nah, never again. And people like they were really
right.
good, you know. So
Yep.
you had that experience, but when you don't have that, and you're trying to run a nightclub, you gonna run into some things that you probably was like, I ain't know this came with all this. Yeah, that's why we told you to put
Exactly.
that groundwork in. Because it's
Yep.
a lot more than just opening the door to a nightclub and standing in the back. It's some work with a nightclub.
Yeah.
So I think you're a perfect
Definitely.
person for that. I think she couldn't have did no better with that. Was you as
I
a
appreciate it. I'm excited to get to work. And like you said, yeah, sometimes you really got to build that foundation.
mm-hmm.
But even when you have experience, you're gonna go through things that you didn't expect. And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally in week 1, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm, taking my time, and I want to be the best that I can be, and I want to make sure people feel safe, and that they know that when they come to me, I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure you have a good time.
Yep. Yep. He will. He will. He may come to the door right now, but he's gonna come to the door when we at 29 Park.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know, and another thing with the job thing, because I was there for you when you was like, I'm about to quit my job. I was like, oh, you are cool,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know. But the thing is too, even with that, it's timing with that. You know, don't be so quick to quit your job if you don't know
Right.
your plan. I'm not saying quit your job and then just hope things work out. I'm saying quit your job and know what you're gonna be doing. Like, have a
Exactly.
plan in your purpose. Because I think people see what other people are doing and think like, I want to do that. Yeah, but that's not easy either. Like, don't
Right.
get it twisted. I may not be clocking in every day at somebody's job, but I'm definitely working.
Yeah.
You
People
know.
don't, and that's why I try to, like, even when I'm talking to, like you said, people in the nightlife, I tell them my struggle too. I'm not one of
Mm-hmm.
them people just, oh, it's lit now and I'm focusing on that. No, I'm gonna give you the
Mm-hmm.
real about some of the struggles that I faced in these years. Like, definitely, like, we live in a culture of everybody posting the wins. Everybody think it's cool to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to own your own business. Okay, it sounds good, but can you put
Yeah.
the real work in? It's like I worked when I got out of college. I worked a job for 6 years that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily like, but I'm big on just enjoying what you're doing.
Yep.
So I stayed there for 6 years before I was able to leave. And when I left, to be honest, I wasn't fully prepared to lean on just the nightlife or anything else that I was
Mm-hmm.
doing. It was a leap of faith and I had to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all about what's best for you. Like, but never look at somebody else's situation and feel like, oh, I want to do that, or
Right.
it worked for them. You know what I'm saying? But you can, of course, get inspired, but
Mm-hmm.
just know that your journey is going to be different than anybody else's journey. What's yours
Exactly.
is yours. You got to go through it yourself to learn,
Right. And I'm not going to encourage anybody to do exactly what I did, or
Exactly.
because I did what I did for me because it worked for me.
Right.
I continued to work a job because it worked better for me to work a job. I wasn't
Right.
making a whole lot of money in the nightlife industry where I could pay all my bills and still live my lifestyle
Right.
off
Right.
just that money. That's just me being real. Like, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand that because I think y'all got this misconception that every promoter is rich. No,
Right.
that's
And
not
that,
that's
trust
not the
me,
case.
I was there too. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
make that clear to people. Like, I've had many up and down years in this game. I've had
Mm-hmm.
years where, ooh, I'm good. I don't need a job, but I still work
Right.
a job. Then I had years to where I didn't have a job and I left my job that first year, and I'm figuring it out as I go along. I'm like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
I only made $200 this week. Shit.
My
Or
rent due this week.
You, you know what I'm saying? It's like I've had those times. I've had those ups and downs to get to where I am now. And,
Right.
it took grind. It took being smart about your money. It
Yep.
took saving,
Discipline.
investing. It took some help every once in a while. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to ask for help from anybody, but you know, it was times where my uncle helped me out before I wanted to do a big event
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't fund it. So he believed in my vision and what I was doing. So he invested in it.
Yep.
But you know, it's a journey. You got to get through it on your own. You got to figure out what works best for you, and that comes
Mm-hmm.
with trial and error. But I
Yep.
definitely would suggest priorities first. You know what I'm
Priorities
saying?
first.
Priorities first.
Plan it out.
Yeah,
Because it's like with anything. Anytime you go into business for yourself, you're gonna have these up and down moments. Some days you're like, man, we doing real good. I'm about to quit, and then some days like, dog, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go back to. I'm about to rest on this business.
that entrepreneur life will have you pulling your hair out sometimes. So it's like,
Exactly. It's not always easy because, like I said, the one thing that I did, I wrote this. I did this thing where I wrote in my journal about the things that I loved about myself, just so I could
hmm
start to stop dwelling on the things I didn't like and
yeah,
start dwelling on like what do
yeah,
you do that you do like. And one thing I said that I liked was that no matter how monetarily well we did on the event, my attitude was the same at the event. So, like, when I did an event, as long as people were there and they were having a good time and they were dancing and
that's
they came up to me
major.
and said, I had so much fun. It's been times I walked out of Shades on me with $50. That's it. And
hmm
that's after paying everybody. Times I walked out with nothing.
hmm
Times I walked out with thousands. But my attitude was the same either way. I don't
Right.
wear that on my face. I may go home and be like, like,
That's real.
but there in front of these people, my job is to make sure you have a good time.
Yeah.
I want to get that same vibe. I don't want my vibe to be fueled by money. If we're doing
Ooh.
good, then I feel good. If we're doing bad, I don't want to be bothered. Like, you can't be like that.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that's why that will be my advice to anybody that's going into nightlife. It ain't gonna be every night you're gonna be busting out thousands or even hundreds
You
sometimes.
got
So
to
you got
do
to
it
be
for
okay
the
with that.
right reasons. And that's the
Yes.
thing. And, you know, I learned that kind of early on. I always feel like I've been a thoughtful person in general, just a people person. So, you know, I'll admit that it was a time where I first started popping in college and I was starting to lose. You know, you get caught up in the hype a little bit. I started shopping and doing little stupid shit, not being
Mm,
smart with my money. But as far as the way you treat people, I made an Instagram post about it not too long ago. But I
mm-hmm.
take pride in being the same person no matter what level I'm on.
Yep.
You would never see me start making a certain amount of money and start being an asshole to people or start being cocky and shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I feel like whether I got no money, whether I got a little bit of money, a lot of money, or I'm rich, when you talk to me and when you see me, my personality and how I treat you is always going to be the same. It's going to be
Yep.
love when I see you. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
how you doing. It's going to be what's up. You want to drink? Let's
Yep.
have a good time. You never going to be able to look at me and tell how I'm doing financially based on my attitude or any of that shit. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
I'm really happy that you pointed that out and said something about that. That's real.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's why, it- and honestly, you can kind of tell the people. I don't want to say promoters, but yeah, let's say promoters. You can kind of tell promoters that's money driven and the ones that's people driven because
Right.
it's a different way they operate,
Right.
and that's what I mean by when I say I don't want to work with just anybody because I don't really care. It's been times I've been through parties like everybody free before 10 o'clock just to get there. Like I'm feeling
Mm-hmm.
good, just
Mm-hmm.
because I just want people to have a good time. Like
Yep.
you just gotta if you don't have a love for people, this ain't gonna be the industry for you. Let's start with that. If you don't have compassion for people, if it's all about a dollar, you gonna have to come out of this because you're not going
Right.
to get that following. You're never
Right.
gonna be who you want to be like that.
You
The
gotta
reason why
show
people like
love to
you
get
make it,
love.
yeah, the reason why people like you make it, and like I keep saying Mike Gardner in Miami because that's like one of the people I look up to,
Yeah.
is because y'all love people. Like you can,
Mm-hmm.
it's evident. People come to live. First person they see is him, and he like, man, we gonna get some bottles and we gonna have a good time. I know
Mm-hmm.
everybody,
Yeah.
that's the kind of person. If I was
He
a party folk,
definitely one of the goats. Him and AG in Atlanta.
AG
They
in Atlanta,
they,
yep,
they the goats for sure when it come to this business. So.
and they've been in for a long time. And I
Mm-hmm.
listened to their stories, and again, they had struggles too. They had things that didn't work out, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't stop, and that's the beauty of it. That's the genius thing. You don't stop.
Yes.
You're gonna do
You
it. Keep
gotta
going.
appreciate the journey in this shit, man. It's,
Yeah.
it's not. It's never an exact end goal. It's
No.
like every day you gotta be happy to be alive, and you gotta be just enjoy the moment. The present is all we got. You know what I'm saying? You never
Mm-hmm.
know when it's gonna be your last day. So I try to
Yep.
live like that, man. Like I just try
Exactly.
to keep a form of balance and just spread love to people so I can get love back. That's it.
Yep. So speaking of love, let's move into the fact that you're a father
Uh
now. You're a
oh.
family man now.
I can't
You're a
even
real
hide the
man.
smile on my face. I got the cheesing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw that smile
Yeah.
crept up real fast.
Yeah, like bluntly speaking, I'm gonna be really blunt about this.
Okay.
Like when it come to the nightlife, people know that it can be a very toxic environment over the years.
Mhm.
So like I knew that when I finally did have kids, I was gonna be an amazing father, but it's even more amazing than I would have expected. Like,
Mhm.
shout out to my wife Carmen. You know
Hey,
Carmen.
Carmen.
She was I met her when I was already doing this nightlife stuff, but I definitely gotta shout her out. As much as I love my kids and be there every day, it's a lot
Mhm.
on mamas, man. So
Yes.
I had to shout her out, man. Like no
Yeah.
matter how much I'm there, them babies want their mommy sometime. Be a lot of work on mommy. So, I
Mhm.
do my best to try to keep some type of balance and make sure that I'm, giving her a little bit of a break. But yeah, being a
Yeah.
father is like super amazing. It's one of the best things about life right now. Watching my kids
Yes.
grow, it's an amazing feeling.
I know it is. And so did how do you keep it balanced though? Because I mean, you got an event almost every day of the week except for what 2 days. So how do you keep it balanced to give enough time to the family
Look,
and still?
somebody came in the camera real quick.
Hi, Trey.
Say hi.
Hey, hey, Trey.
He just got back home, so he came to say what's up real quick.
Aw.
All right, go ahead, lay you, John John. All right, take him. All right, love you, John John. Love you, big boy. But
So how do you
yeah,
keep it balanced? That's a lot.
it's tough to keep it balanced. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard. You just gotta try your best to allocate certain days and activities towards the family days. Is like
Yeah.
certain days that I'm off, and it's tough because this business never ends, to be honest.
No, it
Like, so
don't.
it's like it's days where it's like, okay, I don't have an event Wednesday. The wife gonna expect me to be with her and the kids all day or spend a
Mhm.
full family day, but it don't always work like that. I'm getting
Right.
tons of calls and texts all day, people that want to meet, that want to do an event or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like you really just got to do your best to keep that balance as much as you can and schedule date nights, schedule time for the fam. But
Yep.
it's a never
It's good
ending
you have
battle.
that mindset though. It's
Yeah.
it's it's interesting. See, that's what I'm saying. The dynamic of promoters is really starting to change because the people that I came up with are married and got kids now. Like you, it
Right.
used to
Right.
be you was promoter, like you was the one with all the females, and not necessarily you, but just that was a narrative for promoters. Like they the
Right.
ones that got all the females and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with you, and then I know Bravo. I think he's married too.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin, shout out Justin Floyd. He just had his kid.
Yep.
Uh, being family men, that's a big deal. Like these promoters got girlfriends, like they got
Mm-hmm.
relationships with wives. They're not
Yeah. I'm
just
not.
that.
I'm loving it because we're changing the narrative a little bit of the
Mhm.
way you do it, and a lot
Yep.
of people be looking at it a certain way where they like, oh, you married, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. Like it's a business for me. So
Mhm.
I don't have to hide the fact that I'm married or none of that. You see it in this business a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm doing my job. I'm not gonna lie, me being married, I thought it would hurt me initially when I first got married and I settled down, got a girlfriend. I thought it would hurt
Mhm.
my business. But at the end of the day, I can do mostly the same things. It can hurt you a little bit with some of the women
Yeah.
that might like you, whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like it makes a lot of women more comfortable with the fact that when I reach out and I try to get them to come, they
Mhm.
know I'm not trying to get at them. I ain't trying to
Right.
whatever. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
know I'm genuinely trying my best to make sure they come out and have a good time. Like
Right.
I keep it very blunt when I reach out to women. I'm like, "Oh, you pretty? I need pretty
Mhm.
girls in my booth. I'm married, so
Yeah.
I ain't trying to get with you, but some of my guys might. You did."
Right.
So it's
Can't
like
speak for them, but
I keep it very blunt when it comes to that type of stuff. You know what I'm
I
saying? But
think too, as you get older, like you gotta, the crowd is starting to change too. Like we not at the age where we looking for the promoter, we trying to date the promoter no more. Like
right,
that's kind
yep,
of a younger mindset.
you know,
People my age and your age, we if we going out, it's just because we really want to have a good time. Like
exactly. Yep,
and
yep.
get drinks and go
You know what I'm
home.
saying? Yep.
Yeah, so it works. It works out for
I
y'all.
know, definitely been a
I just
good
want to tell you
balance.
that I'm proud of you, Jake.
Thank
Man,
you. I'm proud of you too. And I
Nah,
like your
man.
podcast. I'm honored that you had me come on here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I
Anytime.
appreciate you. You always been genuine people. You know, out of people that I met on this journey in this nightlife, you definitely one of them, one of the good ones that's always showed me love, always had good intent, always treat people well. So you know, I'm always rooting for you. Always got your back. I'm always here anytime you need to talk. I thank you for being a genuine friend always.
Oh man. About to cry. Okay. And thank you. You know, like I said, you've been my mentor for years. I mean, I kind of just made you into my mentor. And like it's not like he just came and said, you know, I'm taking on my wing. I was like, no, you gonna teach me how to do this. Like,
Yeah, it's love. We just had that genuine love. So anytime you ask me something, you
yeah,
know
and
I'm
you never
always
turned me
here every
down.
time. Every
Yeah,
time.
bigger you got, you still was answering the text. I'm like, man, he ain't busy. Like, you got time for this. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, what you think about this? Think this is a good idea? You know?
You know I'm gonna
um,
keep it real with you every time. I'm gonna give you
every
that real,
time. Yeah,
the
yes, sir.
real, the
The
real
person
vibe.
that's stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But I definitely appreciate you being a guest on the podcast. Always great to have people like you that's doing stuff and making positive moves in the community, being a staple. And then you got to think that you a young black man, so we got these young black boys can see you being a club owner and being a college educated man. That's a big deal to me. You got sons
Love,
to look
love.
to, so you know that's a
Yeah.
big thing. So before we end this out, I gotta ask every guest to leave us off on some positive words.
Okay. Positive words. I would say live every day to your fullest. Show love. Let your guard down. Don't be afraid to spread love. Like I'm over the past few days, I've just ran into and just talked to a few people that just got that guard up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Based on whatever happened in your life. You know what I'm saying? People just like, oh, you can't trust people. You can't. Don't worry about the reaction of other people or how if they're gonna reciprocate what you
Right.
give. Just you know what you give. So my message is like spread love, be happy every day. Find what make you happy and do that every day. That's it.
That's love. I love those. I love that. Y'all heard that, man. Take those words and get the week with it, okay?
You know what I'm
Spread
saying?
love. All right, man. It's been real. This is Lipstick Diaries. I'll see y'all next week.
See
Peace.
you. Appreciate you, homie.